state level adoption,
Yeah.
asset management adoption. There is a lot of big players coming in, and that feels like that's a this cycle thing where people start.
Yeah, so actually on this one, I think what we've seen is that this cycle so far has been ETFs.
Yeah.
So U.S. institutional money going to ETFs. And
because of where we are in the network adoption, that growth has slowed down yet in Bitcoin? Or do you think we're actually early? Because there's an argument or discussion going on where we are on the adoption curve and our returns coming down. I don't think they are, but what do you think?
I don't think they are. I think we're just getting started.
Your overall summary is just hold on, be patient.
Pretty much.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
And if you can, build something important and do it with a mission.
Hey guys, welcome to Everyday Finance. Bitcoin's ascent above the $111,000 mark represents a fundamental change in market sentiment rather than merely a technical breakout. This most recent surge is being driven by pure bullish strength and obvious buyer dominance across exchanges, in contrast to the cautious optimism that characterized Bitcoin's initial approach to approximately $100,000 in early 2021-2024. A resurgence of aggressive market participation is confirmed by new on-chain data from CryptoQuant, which shows that the 90-day cumulative volume delta, CVD, is firmly in favor of buy-side takers. It took time for this to change. CryptoQuant's Ibrahim Kozer claims that after a calm, neutral period earlier in the year, this bull-side momentum has been accumulating since May. Even at record-high prices, buyers are now in control again, which is an odd but potent indication that institutional and high-confidence capital is entering the market. The restraint displayed by long-term holders is what makes this rally even more noteworthy. According to Glassnode, profit-taking has significantly decreased since Bitcoin's original approximately $100,000 milestone, indicating strong conviction among long-term investors. Now that they are making money again, short-term holders are also not showing a strong desire to sell, suggesting that this rally's base is more solid and possibly more long-lasting than it has been in the past.
VC in the space or liquid tokens? Because it's actually very hard for anybody to build a business and beat Bitcoin's returns. It's phenomenally hard to do.
Yeah.
How do you think about that?
Yeah, so it's very hard to outrun Bitcoin. I think there's only a few projects that have kind of outrun Bitcoin for a period of time. In the industry, if you're in industry for any period of time, you say, look, instead of investing in crypto projects, just buy Bitcoin and hold. Much less work. But even as a crypto OGs like myself, I invest in many, many new projects. We have to do that to grow the industry. And there are projects that have outright...
Probably be richer if you hadn't.
Actually, no. I think BNB have outrun Bitcoin so far in its existence.
Yeah.
Ethereum probably has as well.
Yeah.
Even though I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about Ethereum.
Even Doge has.
Even Doge has, which is crazy, right? So there are a few projects that outperform Bitcoin, but those are a small number. But I do think that they all continue to be new projects that will outperform Bitcoin, but they're very small in number, and also they start at a much smaller market cap. Right, so it's easy to, if you look at the multiples, they can go higher. But if they reach to the size of the Bitcoin today, they will slow down too. It's much harder to grow a large market cap than a small one. So it depends on your risk appetite, risk profile, on what you want to invest in. But I do think there are still many good opportunities. But it's true that if you want the least amount of work with very good returns, just buy the top few tokens. You're in good shape.
And you'll be fine. So in our last few minutes, where are we in the current market cycle? How are you thinking about this? How should people be thinking about
it? I'm always bullish.
Me too.
So if you ask me, at the deepest winter in 2019, I'm bullish. 2022, 2023, I was bullish. And if you ask me at the peak, I'm bullish, and then the market goes down, have a correction, and then, It's very hard to time the market.
Yeah.
So far, the markets go on 4-year cycles, but it's very hard to tell, if this one is going to be shorter or longer, etc. But I think if we take a long view, we're still early.
And also, what we know about state level adoption,
Yeah.
asset management adoption, there is a lot of big players coming in, and that feels like that's a this cycle thing where people start.
Yeah, so actually on this one, I think what we've seen is that this cycle so far has been ETFs.
Yeah.
So U.S. institutional money going to ETFs, and those money go to Bitcoin because the Bitcoin ETF is the biggest. So in that regard, Ethereum didn't go up that much, right? Because the money's kind of stuck with Bitcoin. But what's good for Bitcoin is good for other crypto. Eventually, the money will disperse. When they're in an ETF, they usually take longer because the institutions for them to go from Bitcoin to Ethereum to other altcoins will take a bit longer. But what we've seen, and I still believe that 100% is Bitcoin is usually the first crypto that people interact with when they come to crypto. That's the first one they learn. That's the most stable. That's the most decentralized, etc. And that's the biggest market cap. But once the money is in crypto, they will eventually explore other things, right? So it will come. So I think we're still quite early. I think we're still in. If we go by 4-year cycles, it should be end of this year. But we don't know for sure.
And do you think because of where we are in the network adoption, that growth has slowed down yet in Bitcoin? Or do you think we're actually early? Because there's an argument or discussion going on where we are on the adoption curve and our returns coming down. I don't think they are, but what do you think?
I don't think they are. I think we're just getting started. So, I think right now there's a handful of countries that's talking to me about blockchain adoption. And most other countries, I don't see anything going on. Out of 200 countries, even there's 12 countries that are just starting, right? So U.S. is just starting. ETFs is only like the last, a few months, right? So everything's just starting. I think people, when they invest, they're very impatient, right? So of course, when I invest, I want to see my money 10x tomorrow. Why not, right? But the market doesn't work like that. So I think if you're chasing things that are against how this world works, you're going to be always disappointed, right? So basically, you're chasing something that doesn't make sense, and if you chase too hard, then it's gonna backfire. You're gonna lose money. But I think in this world, we got to understand how the world works. Money takes time to build, and what's good for Bitcoin is good for crypto, and it will filter to other things. So and it will take time. As long as we understand the right time horizons, then you can set your expectations correctly, and then everything will make sense.
So your overall summary is just hold on, be patient,
pretty much.
Don't mess it up, and if you can, build something important and do it with a mission.
Bitcoin's meteoric rise has sparked a heated discussion within the cryptocurrency community, particularly as the asset maintains its position as the 6th largest global asset by market capitalization, now only surpassed by gold, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Amazon. Michael Saylor, whose unrelenting bullishness continues to arouse both excitement and skepticism, is at the center of the storm. Saylor reaffirmed his belief that Bitcoin is still cheap even at its highest prices on social media when he said, "If you're not buying Bitcoin at the all-time high, you're leaving money on the table." There were strong reactions to his remarks. Adora Favor and Wonko cautioned against joining the market at its frothy peak, while Bitcoin experts like Adam Livingston supported Saylor's belief. Their worry is that, particularly for retail investors, purchasing at all-time highs without a correction carries a significant risk. The technical indicators point to underlying strength in spite of these cautions. Strong upward momentum is indicated by the Relative Strength Index, RSI, which is still high and well above the neutral 50. But it's also an overbought territory, which is a well-known sign that a brief decline might be on the horizon. Therefore, even though there is a lot of confidence, the story is beginning to return to caution.
Yeah, I think today I can look a little bit longer, but back then I was like, we're just putting out fires, right? So the system, is always under stress. There's always some stress point somewhere. Some stuff's always like, there's always some crisis somewhere. So back then it was just more about like, getting through every week and continue to build and also our product development cycle is very short. Especially back then. Today is a bit longer, which is a bit frustrating. So back then it was like, every feature, when we talk about a feature in the morning, usually by afternoon, that feature's live. So
Wow.
And that was a fantastic feeling back then. Today, it takes quite a bit longer. Today, we have a larger user base, and every change, if you screw up, it's going to be quite bad. Yeah.
So when you're looking out at the industry and through your investments in startups, what should people be building? What are they missing that you're just not seeing enough people working on?
So actually look at differently. What we're short on is not ideas. The same ideas the same people have. What we lack on is strong founders that have very strong conviction. So founders who are mission driven, founders who are money driven. In this industry, in the crypto industry, it's quite easy to raise 10 to 50 or 100, even more millions of dollars. People who are money driven, once they come into $100 million, they sometimes they kind of think they made it, and they kind of slack. They kind of just the drive is they kind of lose it. Whereas people who are mission driven, they will continue to go. And also people who are mission driven, when there's some adversity, they plow through. So what we lack, from our perspective, what we lack the most is strong founders in the space. I think we have a lot of strong founders, but we need more. We need way more. We need 10x more. So that's where the shortage is. So strong founders with conviction, with the ability to execute, and yeah, if you have all three, like there's so much money to be made. I mean, you don't have to think about making money. The money will just come. Yeah.
And it's not. We probably don't need more infrastructure layer stuff. We need the applications layer. I mean, you guys have got, 260 million users and growing stupid fast, but that's still all money. Apart from stable coins, yes, but it's still all the money system. But there's so many things that can scale to 1 billion users.
Yeah, I think sooner or later there's going to be some app that will scale, right?
Yeah.
So sooner or later there'll be another app that might be like blockchain, AI, some combination of it that would just that would just grow like wildfire. They will get 100 million users in a few days. I think those things will come because now we have the infrastructure to support it, both on the tech side, cloud, AI, everything's scalable. So today the successes will be like phenomenal successes that people don't even expect. So, but again, I cannot predict where those are. I believe any idea that we have today can become that. It's just all execution. If you can execute well, those things are very, very possible.
So there's a lot of new people in the space, as there is every cycle. They want to hear your advice. For them, how to deal with this. It's hard for people. They're not used to it. So let's give CZ's advice and coming into the industry from new, what to do, what not to do.
Sure. I think the fundamental thing is there's no magic bullet. There's no magic formula. Stick with fundamentals. Don't get too excited. When people say, look, this project's really hard. If you don't buy it this minute, then you're gonna miss it. Don't go for that. Just stick with fundamentals. What happens in traditional investing in traditional markets is the same thing that happens here. You should look at fundamentals. You should look at projects. You should play with the product. You should believe it. You should understand it, and then don't follow advices just because. Don't buy just because you saw somebody tweet about something on Twitter, right? So don't just follow blindly. Don't invest in a large number of tokens or coins. Play with 3 or 5 that you can understand deeply, so that you know if they're good or not. If you don't understand, don't invest. And then for the builders, again, fundamentals, right? So don't try to raise a big amount. That's not the benchmark. The benchmark is 5 years from now. How many users do you have? What's your valuation 5 years from now? So look at product market fit, build prototypes, test it. If it doesn't work, pivot. If it works, then scale. Right. So just know there's nothing magical. Everybody comes into crypto thinking that the crypto somehow is different. It's not.
It's a bit more volatile.
Yeah. So you see very often, right? Many people who are not traditional stock traders, they come to crypto, they become active traders. doesn't work. Crypto is no different from if you do day trading, it's the same everywhere. It's just different asset type. There's some guys who are like entrepreneurs in traditional internet, well, not traditional, just internet tech fields. They come into crypto somehow. They want to do it. They want to do something very different. There's nothing different. Crypto does help you raise money more easily. It's a very effective fundraising tool. But still, the fundamentals apply. You got to have product market fit. You got to have a strong product that people use. So all of those things still apply. So there's nothing too magical about this magic internet money kind of industry. There's nothing magical about it. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of basics, a lot of fundamentals.
Do you think capital formation will grow? We saw ICOs back in 2017, right? Now, it was experimentation. It was the Wild West, but it was experimentation, like memes are now. Do you think we're going to come back to more of that kind of capital formation via some sort of format of ICOs?
I think so. But I think there's always going to be a combination. So we've seen the evolution, right? So, say 70, 80 years ago, if you want to start a business, you can only get a loan from a bank. And it's very hard to get fundraising, right? So then, 30-something years ago, VCs started to appear, and it makes sense for internet businesses because they got to burn through a lot of money before they have a revenue model, and that kind of worked for internet. And then now we come to ICOs. ICOs are so much easier to raise money, right? That's 2017. But for ICOs, you actually still have to have a website and have a white paper at least. But that's super easy compared to traditional VC fundraising, and then. Now, and then we went through sort of the NFT craze, etc. But now you just need one image, say one meme, and then you go to a pump platform, and then off you go. So the fundraising has become so much easier, which is kind of it's a bit too easy now. So I think, but I think there are still many. There's still many strong founders who are using the solid approaches, white paper, product, and a TGE much later after the product have product market fit. I think we still see a lot of strong projects in those categories. I think long term those projects will win.
And what do you think is going to have higher returns?
Now that Bitcoin has soared to all-time highs and into uncharted territory, everyone is watching to see if this rally can last, or if a significant correction is imminent. According to Into the Block, one of the most shocking statistics is that all present Bitcoin owners are profitable. That's an uncommon and potent statistic, but it could also be a warning sign. There is a strong temptation to sell when everyone is sitting on gains, especially for novice and short-term traders. The price may momentarily decline if a wave of profit-taking starts, particularly if overbought technical conditions are present. Nevertheless, compared to previous cycles, the market's overall structure seems more robust. This rally is supported by strategic accumulation, cautious long-term holders, and favorable macro conditions, in contrast to hype-driven speculative frenzy. In the meantime, well-known figures like Changpeng, CZ Zhao, and Raoul Pal are commenting and giving guidance on timing, patience, and the long term. Their combined message is that, although there will inevitably be short-term volatility, Bitcoin's long-term prospects are still overwhelmingly favorable. The true question is not only how high Bitcoin can rise, but also how long it can maintain this momentum before the market calls for a pause.